Hey, so it's me, Slamantha. So Digimon World 1.1 is out. Amazing. Hooray. What does this mean? We can finally alter moves, and that's pretty cool. Techniques need to be changed to preserve the balance of the game, and let's go into everything I did. Okay. Number 1, we're going by the list, but the list of like techniques, fire, air, whatever. Fire Tower. So Fire Tower had an issue where the Digimon have to go really close to actually attack, which would mean they'd be easily punished, and the power wasn't really there. Didn't feel particularly viable. Buffed up the numbers. Stronger, usable from further away, and it's kind of almost an instantaneous attack, so it's going to be really effective. Going to be great on things like Agumon, Gabumon. Freaking nightmare to balance Gabumon, make it viable, but this is definitely going to put on the right track. Next up, Prominence Beam. I just think it should be a big dumb anime laser. Its stats are pretty cool. Just make it hit from anywhere on the map. Just launch it from anywhere. I don't care. Just fire your laser beams. It's super cool. Next in line, Spitfire. We actually saw Spitfire see some use by an Agumon. And that Agumon's build was like really low speed to take advantage of the fact that you could run Spitfire effectively with like 100 speed. Um, I think the only thing that really needs to be changed about that is just make it cost a little bit more. It was almost able to win a significant amount of fights with too much MP actually afterwards. So in fear of that build narrowing down the MP to an exact science to invest in other stats, we're just gonna double the MP. It should still probably have enough leeway afterwards to figure out the exact number. I mean, we're going from 30 to 60 here. So I say double, but 30 more MP. Red Inferno, we saw some Digimon try to use that. It's not that viable from what we saw. It needs to be a bit close range. It's a little slow to launch. It didn't really feel very effective for what I wanted to do. So we just buffed up the powers, 270 to 380. Dropped a little bit of MP cost because those moves that get punched easily, the more you spam them, the more you run dry fast. So hopefully, kind of like Fire Tower, that sees a little bit more play. Next up is Magma Bomb. Magma Bomb, I always kind of think it's a fast move. It's not. It can be used anywhere, which is super cool. It homes, it has really long range. Super cool in that respect. Again, really easy to interrupt, but because it's a big dumb ball of fire, I think it'd be cool if it did a lot of damage. It has a small chance of confusion originally. We buffed that to 90%. Um, 90% is going to mean it's gonna confuse. Which is fine for synergy wise because it's homing. So if the Digimon it's up against just starts running around like an idiot, it's gonna land on it regardless. I just think it'd be cool to combo it together with moves like Heat Laser to try to get a little bit more consistency out of it. Speaking of Heat Laser, we got Heat Laser. There it is. Heat Laser right there. Right on cue. So Heat Laser. Oh, that original number is way up. What are those notes? Oh no. Oh no. That did not start at 279 power. Heat Laser did not. It started at like 80 something power. Ignore that typo. Well, ignore. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So Heat Laser is a flat move. It goes off reasonably fast, but I just think that if you have a setup move, it should be good at setting up. So just kind of lowered its power, not from 279 to like from 80 something or whatever, to stop it from being like particularly abusable otherwise. But lower VMP cost, make it a little bit less punishing to use, and just up that flat. Make it really cool combos. I want to see those cool Heat Laser flat combos with the big dumb attacks like an Infinity Burn, which is not Infinity Burn, it's an Infinity Burn. Hopefully one day I can change that. But I think that move is a big, super cool attack name. I mean, supposed to be called Infinity, so that sounds like it should be like a final attack kind of thing. So I boosted it from 488 power to 999. So it's not very consistent, and it's one of those AoE moves that can't be used during another AoE move. But I mean, if you could combo into that, that's gonna be pretty big damage. 999 is not a small number. So that's gonna be cool for the Metal Greymons, the Digitalmons of the world. But especially curious about Marimon in Champion tier. Have a watch on Marimon. Meltdown, that move we saw a lot from in the championship, especially the champions here, especially when we banned Megalo Spark and Thunder Justice and all that. So that it's like the 6th strongest attack in the game. And now that AoEs well, it's been unlimited. You can use it during ever AoEs. I don't think it's particularly unbalanced other than just the fact that I had a really high stun chance. So just nerf the stun. We'll see if it needs anything past that, but I think that alone will help bring it into get it under control. But yeah, let's just drop down to the bottom real fast so I can explain to you what I'm talking about with the AoEs. So yeah, originally AoEs had the issue of going off. They couldn't go off at the same time as each other. Because it's limited for single player reasons. Because if you see like 4 Digimon using all range beam in story or anywhere probably, the game kind of just explodes. But because this isn't story mode, it's versus, it's a lot less resources. You can undo them, but only some of them. Some of them don't actually still work properly. There's no like big graphical issues. It's just they don't register attacks. It's like a weird glitch. I don't know what causes it. Hopefully we could look into that down the road. But the ones that are unlimited now are Meltdown, Hurricane, Aurora Freeze, All Range Beam, Metal Sprinter, almost caught me there, Tremor, and Random Speed Toss. So keep those ones in mind. The other ones are as they were. But going back up, yeah, so Meltdown, stun nerf. Get to the air moves. Jeez, the air is so meta. Air is so ridiculously meta the first time in vanilla. But Thunder Justice, we actually didn't really see much of this, but it's because there's just Ice Statue and Bug and Megalo Spark. All these really strong attacks that just kind of coexisted with Thunder Justice, kind of overshadowing a little bit. But we shouldn't sleep on Thunder Justice. This move is still so powerful. But I think that's kind of okay. It, again, is like this final boss kind of feel to it. I just think it needs to be toned down a little bit. So just a nerf to a power, a bigger nerf to a stun. See another typo there. But yeah, just hopefully it gets a little under control. It does have a high MP cost to offset all this. So hopefully that gets under reins or control, whatever. Spinning Shot. I didn't do anything to Spinning Shot. I was really tempted to. It was actually originally there, but I'm like, you know what? Spinning Shot is a bit slow. It is strong, and we have seen it in some play, but I don't think anything is won with it yet. So we're just going to see what happens. We're going to see if any of the other changes we've done puts in too strong of a spot. We could always go back and re-nerf it later if it has to be done. Like some other moves I've already gone over and changed. Listen, I'm a little afraid that I did too much with Fire Tower, but this patch is already out in the world. I can't do anything about it. Okay, guys, please understand. Electric Cloud. So that's gonna be another setup move. Electric Cloud originally just kind of this weird space where it's like this ranged attack, but it's not very fast. It's not particularly strong. It doesn't have a very high stun chance. I just think it'd be nice to give it an identity. So I'm thinking like having it combo with something like Betamon. So you set up Electric Cloud and you send out like a Giga Freeze for damage. I think that'd be kind of cool. Biomon, Electric Cloud into Hurricane. Just some ideas. Just some ideas for you guys. Those are free. You're welcome. And yeah, the use range one is where it says use range 900, 800, but actually isn't a typo. I found it more consistent when it was at 800 range than at 900. It just seemed like it wanted to go off more. Then Megalo Spark. That was a big one. Megalo Spark is probably the weakest of the top 5 techs, but it's in the rookie tier. So that means that it had to be hit. It was just dominating rookies too hard. It was just Megalo Spark for Kunamon and Elecmon, and it put them so far above everything else. So just a big enough nerf to make it kind of fit in with the rest of the moves that are available in rookie, that are that level of consistency in terms of speed and whatnot. Yeah, nothing too surprising there, just lower values. It should probably still be strong. It's Megalo Spark. It's fast. Static Elect. So I'm gonna be annoyed with every single melee attack there is because melee sucks. There's a problem with having to go up to something and punch something in a world with fireballs being thrown everywhere. It just doesn't really get done properly. It's unsafe. You're always punished. So I figured the best way to deal with melee moves is just to make them really extreme in some degrees. In this case, Static Elect is now basically 100% chance of stun. Thinking of it like Nuzzle from Pokemon. Not very much damage, guaranteed to get the effect in. Maybe if their timing is weird, you could do stun locks depending on the animation. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully not. But then again, you'll have to get rid of Static Elect. Wing Cutter. So this is one of those moves that's ridiculous. So Wing Cutter sees play in pretty much every class, rookie, champion, it doesn't matter. It was so strong, so fast, low cost. It did everything. So I hit the power substantially, like by a third. I cut its use range in half, so it's gonna be less spammy. But to compensate for all of this, I gave it a chance of confusion, which will work together with the fact that it's a homing move. So get a little bit of interesting utility out of that. But yeah, no, Wing Cutter, it had to be changed. That move was a threat to the rookie tier. Then there's Confuse Storm. It's right there in the notes. Confuse Storm should confuse. 60% to 100%. It's right in the name. I think it's thematic. Its numbers otherwise are kind of fine. Just give it a little bit of range to make it a little bit more consistent with going off. Hurricane. Hurricane is stupid. Hurricane is really dumb. It's bad, like really obtusely bad. It is so easy to interrupt. It has to get like a whole animation off before it even has just a chance to connect. It's a problem. And then on top of it, it was costly, so it would be interrupted and would cost you 255 every single time. It would have a chance of confusion, which would make it pretty much impossible to land back-to-back hurricanes if the confusion actually took effect. It just terrible. I boosted the numbers to obscene amounts, 999 power. That makes it the strongest move in the rookie tier. So that means Biomon has access to the highest power move in rookie. And I gave it a little bit more range to help its usability out. So it's less running in to activate it. But yeah, Hurricane, I've upped the accuracy to make it be blocked less because if you get this whole attack off, you should probably be rewarded. But yeah, I've talked about a little bit earlier with Electric Cloud. If I think a cool idea would be to combo Electric Cloud into Hurricane. Again, a freebie. Also, I haven't completely tested this yet. You guys might want to try this out. Try a heavy defense build with not much attack and see how that works with a move of 999 power. Give it a shot. See how it works. So ice. Ice is another one. Oh my god. So Giga Freeze Stunk, we talked about that a little bit with Betamon. I upped the power, I upped the use range, so now it could actually work from further back. It's closer in line with Red Inferno now. It's like a Ice Breath move. Up the power again. You could maybe combo it with Betamon, Electric Cloud to Giga Freeze. Ice Statue. Ice Statue was the most powerful move in the game. Easily. Super fast, super strong, low cost, high chance of stun, just I don't know why they did it. It was so unbalanced. I hit everything. I upped the MP cost by a lot. I lowered the stun chance by a decent amount. I want to keep it high because it's Ice Statue. A move called Ice Statue should probably have a decent chance of stunning. Yeah, it's still gonna be strong, just due to how fast it is, but it's gonna be a lot less powerful now in terms of champion tier at least. We'll see how it goes. Everything else where you could afford a little bit more MP. Winter Blast. So Winter Blast actually saw no play whatsoever, which feels like it was a little bit slept on to some degree. It's basically just Meltdown. It's Ice Meltdown. It just pretty much instantly goes off. Could be easily punished though. The only problem with it is it didn't really have the numbers behind it. to make it any use. So just up the damage, up the MP cost to go with it, because I was a little afraid of a move that would, I don't know, 200 damage and be instant like that. See how it goes. I think there's a little bit of a stun chance attached to it also. Ice Needle falls in line with Wing Cutter and Spitfire. Does a spammy cheap move. That's even saw play at higher elos, higher classes. Just gut even numbers. On to the next one. Water Blit. So Water Blit, I really do feel like was slept on. This move is basically just Water Megalo Spark. It might be a little bit slower, but what? Oh, that is a bad. Oh no, never bad no. Oh no. Oh no. A number got deleted. Oh wait, no, I'm misreading. I'm too far. Nope, it's fine. Listen. I'm not wearing my glasses. Okay, please understand. I was looking at Aqua Magic's MP cost. I'm like, oh no, that can't be right. Water Blood. Yeah, no. So up the power, up the MP cost to go with a little bit of power change, up the use range to make it a little bit more safe to use because that little bit of lag behind it, and give it a little bit of flat percentage because I don't know. I thought that would be spicy. It just seemed like it would be cool to give it some flat. Most water moves have flat, like the moves that are very watery. And by most, I think there's literally one other. So yeah, it's just teardrop and water. Listen, if it's water, there's a chance of flat. Aqua Magic. So we're getting to buffs. So with buffs, there's two main uses. One, you actually want the buff. Two, you just want to fill a move slots, so your Digimon would have one less chance of being inactive because they're checking an empty move slot. Aqua Magic kind of falls into the latter. You would just see it be ran a lot because they're like, well, I have my actual attack, and then I have, I don't know, something else I want to use, like counter because it's a move slot, or I don't know, Poison Claw. How do I fill that third slot? Oh, buff. Perfect. I don't actually care about the 7% chance we get out of it. I just want it there. Which is fine and cool, but the problem is it leads to this inequality with Digimon that don't have buffs. So I am upping the MP cost of every single buff to kind of offset that advantage. And when I say up the MP cost, I mean a lot. So an Aqua Magic will now cost 300 MP. Enjoy it. Aurora Freeze, that has kind of super attack energy also. It's not the longest attack to launch in the world, and its numbers are kind of there in the first place. I just think it would be better to go by the theme approach. So Aurora Freeze, it should probably have a high chance of freeze opposed to flat. So we went from a 24% of flat to a 74% of stun. Also gave it a little bit more distance for safety. Teardrop, another setup move. We have seen that move be used a decent amount. It just is a little bit slow, so it gets punished a decent amount. And the flat chance just up a little bit to see it be a bit more consistent. It's really garbage to again see setup moves be used and not actually do setup. We get to Mech. Mech sucks originally, which is weird because you think it would be really good because it's only accessible to ultimates. But there's literally only one good attack in them in vanilla, and that's the buff. So everything else needs to get something to make it more interesting. Power Crane, for example, is now a stun hit, which I think is really cool. 65% chance of stun and a little bit more range. It's not the slowest move either, so it's going to be a really good setup tool for things like DG Dimension. Really long boss kind of moves you would see from Ultimate Tier Digimon. Metal Sprinter is not the worst move in the world originally. It's fast, which is cool. It's just really weak. And because everything resists mech, or just about everything, it makes it incredibly weak. So just up the power a decent chunk and gave it a high chance to confuse because it's AoE. You'll see it landing no matter where the enemy's off to. I think it's a good combination. Full Potential is dumb also. That's another one of those top 5 moves, except this one's actually a buff. Full Potential just gave an inordinate amount of stats to things that would use it, and it would only cost 99 MP. So much value for such a little cost. I think if you want to use your full potential, you have to pay up. Just max MP cost, I could have something take. So 900 or 99 to 765. Yeah, no. Until I can actually have the tools to change the values of buffs. That one's gonna cost a lot. Pulse laser. It doesn't really do anything special. I just think slow. It's kind of slow, so it should be a bit more rewarding. Just 678 power from 389. Delete prog was kind of surprising. We didn't see any use of it in the tournaments whatsoever. But it seemed okay. Just up the flat percentage a little bit. The damage is pretty decent on it too. So I don't know. Hopefully that just encourages it to be used a little bit more. I talked about Digidimension a second ago with Power Crane. It doesn't have the longest setup time in the world, but it probably would really appreciate stun. Big final attack vibes, so up from 722, which I think was the original highest attack power in the game, to 999. Put it on par with the likes of Hurricane and in Affinity Burn. Up the range again to make it a little bit safer to use. Then we have Reverse Prog, which also has super attack vibes. Up the power a lot. And gave it a 100% chance of flat to kind of differentiate it from from DG Dimension. So they're both super attacks but in different ways. One has max power, the other, although super strong, also has a chance, also will flatten the enemy. We get to Earth Bug, another top 5 move. Apparently the last top 5 move we're gonna talk about. Thanks, notes. So Bug kind of surprised me a little bit in the first ever Ultimate tournament. I didn't really know what it was like. I knew it was strong, but I didn't know that it attacked twice. That's something we kind of learned. It still got beat out by Ice Statue, but it needs to be hit. So it's in a unique place because of that a chance of attacking twice. So what I did was I cut the power a decent amount, so it's still going to be very strong. And also just cut the flat chance, because I mean that's effectively 700 damage now and 50% flat opposed to 1,000 damage and 70% flat. It might still need to be hit down the road, but for now we're just gonna keep it there. Who knows? Maybe this will be its time to shine. Mass Morph, kind of like Aqua Magic, just another buff. This one is a little bit more usable because it gives 20% to defense and 10% to speed, so it's gonna cost a little bit more in Aqua Magic, but it's the same sort of deal. Poison Claw. Melee again, 100% chance of poison. It's not the worst move in the world originally because it's very fast, which is nice, but a lot of moves will just punish you no matter how fast you are. Just because of range. Danger Sting, another melee move. Danger Sting is slow and not very good. So up the power, lower VMP cost, give it near perfect chance of flat. Maybe there's a combination you could do with this. I just don't know what else you could possibly get off with this thing. It's up to you guys at this point. I give you the tools, figure it out. Green Trap is in a weird place. So Green Trap should be a really strong mid-level Earth attack, because otherwise all Earth attacks are poison or some kind of not really damage oriented, but more status oriented. And then there's Bug, which is really strong. Green Trap was supposed to be the other pretty okay move. The big issue of Green Trap is you would see a lot of Digimon literally walk through it, just naturally. And until there's something I could particularly do about that, because I experimented with changing the distance of which it was used, and that didn't help. Just gonna up the stun. So we're gonna focus on the trap part of Green Trap and just say if it actually connects, maybe it could start getting a stun lock on. So we get to battle moves. This is gonna be a fun one. So Tremor. Tremor is the only kind of safe battle move. It's the only one that actually has range on it. We talked about this 2 seconds ago. Range is better than melee. Who would have guessed? Up the power a lot. Gave it a decent chance of stun. Up the use range. It can actually be... It does hit from further away. In fact, I find it hitting more consistently further away. For some reason, was closer, there'd be a lot of times where it just doesn't connect with the enemy. I don't really understand why. I hope to see this be used on Gabumon. This is what I see as Gabumon's signature attack, just because it's the only thing that really differentiates Gabumon from other rookies. Hopefully it also helps some champions and such that just kind of fail to do anything, like Ogremon or Tyrannomon, things that suffer due to having battle heavy move sets. But yeah, even give it a small chance of stun. So yay, good for you, Tremor. Muscle Charge, that's actually a good buff, kind of like unlock potential. 30% attack buff, that needs to be changed. 66 to 600 MP. So it's gonna be really costly. This is accessible in rookies, so I think this might kind of discourage its use there. But it has to some degree defined the rookie tier in terms of what actually gets a lot of use. But with something like all the MP drops of the spammy moves, maybe it could still be used because those moves don't take much MP now. We'll see how it plays. Warcry, another buff. This one's not strong. Give it the same 300 as Aqua Magic. Sonic Jab. So I did something unique with Sonic Jab. Not only did I up the power because it's a melee attack and it really needed it because, oh my god, 52 power, I gave it no MP cost. My logic behind this is it's not doing anything that interesting. There's other things that kind of do exactly identical things to it. But I just thought it would be kind of cool to have a move that you can use after you run out of MP. That way you have an option if the clock keeps ticking. I think that could be really cool. It might be abused at some point, but it's up to you guys to see if that's viable. Dynamite Kick is 2 different attacks, which I didn't know at first, honestly. So a lot of Digimon will have this, like Leomon. Leomon has Dynamite Kick, and it wasn't particularly strong with 193 power. Unimon had Dynamite Kick for 255 because Unimon is a horse, and horses kick hard. Apparently the 3 horses in the game are Unimon, Centarumon, and Skullgreymon. Skullgreymon's a horse now. We just have to live with that. He's just a horse. Game says so. So I buffed the power of the regular by a decent amount. Again, melee attacks need a little help. I buffed the power by the horse version by a lot. I think it'd be really cool to give all those horses more of an identity. So, especially since Harumon, this now becomes like his strongest attack. Unimon also has Hurricane, so if you want to combo into something, you could always go with Hurricane of that option. But, I mean, Dynamite Kick is a lot less likely to be punished right off the bat without a setup than Hurricane is, so see how that goes. I left a note for counter. I didn't leave notes for every move. If I didn't touch a move, there's a good chance I didn't actually leave a note. But counter, I leave the note because the intention to eventually do something about it. Problem with it is I can't do anything about why it's picked right now, as is. Right now you see counter be picked a lot because it's a perfect move slot taker. Like, you pop it in there and it will probably never become relevant. It doesn't cost any animations. It just sits there taking up a move slot. And at best you can counter an enemy's melee attack attempt. So that's just a mark of intention. Megaton Punch, high power, raise the power, lower VMP, cost a little bit. Give him a much higher chance of stun. If you want to get in there and you don't give him the big 1-2, except it's a big 1 because it's Megaton Punch, not Megaton Punches. High chance of stun. Just about 50%. I think that'd be cool. Buster Dive. So Buster Dive is usable in rookies, which when I look at a lot of attacks, I look at how it affects rookies and then I just play from there. Buster Dive I thought would be seeing a lot more play than it did. I think that number's wrong. Why are all these numbers wrong? What the heck? No, Buster Dive. Yeah, Buster Dive was originally 500 power. This is wrong. How dare it? I'm punishing it. Who's my editor? I'm firing my editor. I quit. I'm out. Someone has to do this job. So yeah, Buster Dive was originally 500 power. With 14% chance of confuse, which sounds really strong. Except for the fact that it has a little bit of a setup time, which would be punished. And that confusion actually is detrimental to it because it would, if it applied, it would lower the chance of actually hitting again because the Digimon that is confused would just like F off and the Patamon would miss. So I gave it a lot more power. Just got rid of the confusion. Hopefully that helps it out. Filth is bad. Filth is poopy. I used a stronger word here, but filth is poopy. Which makes sense. But we need something that isn't bad for these Digimon. So okay, so there's a bigger issue with poop. So almost all poop moves are A, identical in terms of animation. They're nearly indistinguishable from each other. And B, really slow to be used. So they're all very punishable. So I thought about this and I'm like, well, I could either make Poop Speed Toss the most reliable poop move a stun move to set up for the other attacks, which might be how we approach it. Or I could just say Poop Speed Toss is your attack. I said Poop Speed Toss is your attack. So I gave it 200 power, upping it from 122. Lowered the MP cost from 196 to 6. That is in line with an idea I have of just making filth moves by like as a gimmick, not cost very much. So you would do a lot of low MP builds. So like you could get away with only having 100 MP on a Sukamon and using this. So you have all that extra stats to invest in other categories. Give a little bit of range too for consistency and safety because it's your main attack, pretty much your only attack. Ultimate Pupil, again, big scary attack name. Should be big and scary. 999 power. Increased its range from 600 to 800 for some usability. MP cost, its original, dude, I'm firing myself so hard. Its original MP cost was not that. It was 333. I don't know why it says 96. But that's why. Okay. Probably copied and pasted. For formatting reasons. But yeah, no. 333 MP down to 9. Listen, this will be fixed afterwards. I'm going to go back and edit this. Okay. You guys on the website will see different notes of whatever I'm showing here. But yeah, should be a big scary boss move. It has a high chance of flat by default. I think that's cool. So if it lands, it's a good chance of chaining these flats. And it's usable in Edamon, who also has some stun moves like I don't know. I think it has Tremor and Megalo Spark, Thunder Justice, all these cool things. So maybe you could combo it with him somehow, Megaton Punch, whatever it is. But yeah, that's all the text that we changed. Then we just look at some other stuff. The finishers. So some finishers have longer ranges in terms of their actual hitbox than the Digimon actually kind of behaves like they do. Like previously, Betamon, Kunimon, and Elecmon would all have to get into melee range to use their finishers, which made them effectively terrible. And they'll get punished all the time and barely ever get their finisher off. So I gave them all better range, and that means their finishers will start flying more. I didn't look at every single Digimon though, so if we see some down the road that are like, hey, that had a projectile and it for some reason felt the need to get point blank, it'll be fixed in the next patch. We talked about the Aoes earlier. Poison got nerfed. I don't know why it's green there. This should be red. This is not a buff. This is a nerf. Yeah, so Poison got nerfed. So let's say the normal is 100. We cut it down to 50, so it's twice as fast. We're getting it down to 66%. So that'd be like a third the speed. I'll go back and fix that, make it a little bit more legible. But yeah. And some graphic changes. We saw this actually in the secret patch 1.03. The bars now properly load during palette introductions, which is nice. It's cool. It was weird that we would get these bar sounds if it wasn't actually bars. And the command bar's been removed. It wasn't doing anything. It freed up memory, so we were actually able to add the bars. But yeah, guys, that's it. I'm gonna go edit my mistakes. The patch is out there. And I will have information on the league and tournament out by the end of the night. Have a good one. See you in the next round. Bye.